War Eagle War Report family, I'm your host C-Dub, and tonight we're discussing preseason predictions for the 2021 season for Auburn. And you'll be surprised at what 247 Sports has to say about it. We got our opinions, and I'm sure you're going to have some opinions as well. So, fellas, y'all ready to talk some football tonight?
Yeah, let's go.
Well, they're ready, and I hope you are, because we are entering the war room.
You are now listening to the War Report. Wednesday night War Room. Ike Jones. B. Will. C. Doe. Mike G. Let's go!
War Eagle Auburn family, War Eagle everyone watching. Welcome to the War Room. Happy Hump Day, middle of the week. One of our favorite shows, our favorite times to hang out with our family. As you're entering the War Room, you already know what to do. Someone has already done it, and I appreciate you for that. Smash that like button. Please be sure to drop a War Eagle in the comments. I see y'all doing that as well. Appreciate that. If you're new to one of our live shows, please be sure to drop your city. Let us know where you're streaming this, watching this from. We want to hear from you as well. And please, by all means, share our video, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook, social media. Please add us at The War Report on Twitter. Whether it's Facebook or Twitter, please use hashtag Get Your Weight Up. We appreciate that a bunch. It gets our content out there. Let people know we're out here putting out great content in the off season. Mike G, what announcements you got for us, brother?
Listen, become an insider. Every week that passes, we inch a little bit closer to the season, and you do not want to miss our insider experience in season. I'm talking game day. I'm talking film reviews. I'm talking about a lot of stuff that will be insider only when the season gets here. So $5.99 a month, you can sign up on our YouTube channel. This is the best way to support our content. We appreciate all our insiders. You guys get early access to content, facts and all, building rapport, and a new segment that we'll be dropping tomorrow. It'll be a little bit of a surprise for you guys. So become an insider. We appreciate our supporters too. You still get early access to content, but maybe not comment privileges on a lot of the other stuff we do. As always, our merch store is live. You can find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. We are officially partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. People, this is the good that we've chosen to put back into the world. Look at these puppies' faces. Look at them. Embrace it. They're cute, and we need to save as many as possible so that people can understand the joy that Ike and I feel every day having rescue animals. So we appreciate everybody who goes to our GoFundMe to donate. 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Humane Society to help them rescue animals. It costs them $19 a day approximately to take care of animals to stay in their care 30 to 45 days before they can find them a good home and a caring family. So please go donate. We appreciate that. I pinned this to the top of the chat, and we're giving away War Report merch tonight. So hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments. Check your spelling. Get your Urban Dictionary out. Look at how it's spelled here on the graphic. Make sure you spell it right. I already got 2 entries because people just came in, drop and Get Your Weight Up off the top. So you want to get into this. I see we're nearing 100 people already, just 4 minutes in. I want everybody to have a chance to win something at the end of the night. You have to be present at the end of the broadcast to win. So please, hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments to enter the broadcast for tonight. I see them rolling in here, and that is all I got, Caesar.
Well, appreciate that, sir. Appreciate that a bunch, man. How y'all doing, man? Y'all good?
Man, it's Wednesday.
Doing good, man. Coming from a different angle, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get my production right. So,
be over there loving his angles.
Yeah, we got a little extra Mr. Clean going on.
Oh yeah, that shine is looking.
That's more LED. You know what I'm saying? I got more LEDs in here, man. I'm shining.
Shout out to y'all in the chat and the comments, man. We see all of you guys dropping to Get Your Weight Up, man. We just love hanging out with you guys, man. And
TJ, make sure you spell it right, TJ. I want you to be in there. You got a little misspelling there. Hashtag get your weight up.
Don't get
Corey
your feelings
Weber,
hurt.
you know what? I gotta say this to Corey because he dropped a really good question on Sunday's show, right? And then we were like, Corey, you have got to tweet that at us so we can use it for Facts or Not. But we record Facts or Not on Sunday afternoon, and we use that question, Corey. So listen, because you didn't tweet it at us at the time, we didn't use it in the show as the fan question, but we want to give you your credit for that question here on the lives. Thank you for the question. It was a great question, and we appreciate you eventually making that Twitter account and following the War Report. So y'all go follow us, Corey Weber. He's following us, and we're following him. So you'll see him on there, and he gave us a great question for this Friday's Facts or Not.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Great question, Corey.
Appreciate that. And keep them questions coming, man. Listen. We've done how many Facts or Not now?
So many. One every Friday since January. So 6 months, six times 4, 24. We've done 24 of them.
Listen. Coming up with new questions is a brainstorm, all right, and in the off season. So we start asking about favorite restaurants it's because y'all ain't giving us questions. So
that's right.
That's
right.
So no, we appreciate that, y'all.
Facts and all, Bryan Harsin wears Fruit of Balloon. What?
Nah, man, I don't want to ask that.
We'll just discontinue Facts and all before we start asking about his tidy whities.
Oh my God.
So man, let's talk. We got a little bit of football news. Listen, I know we're heavy into recruiting and camps and everything that's going on, but we did get a little bit of news, courtesy of the good folks at 247 Sports.
Yes.
They dropped an article recently where they predicted and gave their thoughts on how each team in the conference is going to finish in the 2021 season. Guys, I think we can eat off of this article the entire show because there's so much to glean from it. But in case you guys have not seen it, here it is. Basically, here's the, of course they have Bama going 13-0. They have Auburn going 6-6. All right, going 3-5 in the conference. Some of the surprises on here is they got Georgia being undefeated all the way to the conference championship, where they are expected to lose to Alabama, who's going undefeated. So Alabama will definitely, according to 247 Sports, be in the playoffs this year. Georgia more than likely could end up in the playoffs too, according to them. These are their opinions. It's interesting to note that they have Kentucky going 9-3. There's a few people who are kind of high on Kentucky. I haven't been following them.
Is Joey Gatewood going to start for them?
I haven't been following the whispers. I don't know. So I don't know how that QB battle is.
I know our chat will help us out on that one.
Yeah. So basically, some of the points to be made here is that Auburn's losses will come against Bama, according to this article, Georgia, obviously, since they're going undefeated in the regular season, LSU, who they have expected to finish the season 9-3. We're expected to lose against them. We're expected to lose against Penn State on the road, our first major road game.
That's fair.
Losing to A&M on the road.
That's fair as well.
Okay, let me know if this is fair. Mm-hmm. They have us losing to South Carolina.
What in the actual hell? Come on, man. That's a recency bias. I'm not buying it.
Well, we know where that's coming from. We'll set that up in a minute.
Yeah.
That's going to put Auburn about 7th. And I'm keeping this up so you guys can see it. I know y'all going crazy in the comment section, but this is going to put Auburn about middle of the pack SEC, 7th or 8th. Somewhere in there, according to 247 Sports. Okay, not according to the War Report or anyone else. These are just predictions, things for us to talk about, little fodder in the off season. All right, I want to know from you guys. Just all right. Let's set this up. Let's talk about this. It was Mike G who said that these predictions are pretty much going based off of what you just said, recency bias. What has Auburn done lately, right?
Mhm.
So they have us going, we're going to be 1-4 on the road, according to them. Our only road win will be at Arkansas, right? So a lot of these expectations, and what I'm getting from this is that when their expectations is that any team, and this is kind of an assumption, it can be a safe assumption, that any team that fires its head coach takes a step back the initial year, right? Not really taking a step back because we'll have the same amount of wins that we had last year. So it's almost like breaking even. But I just want to know, Mike gave his thoughts. You're busting at the seams. Initial thoughts about this, Mike G.
Okay, so the South Carolina thing puzzles me quite a bit. Now, we beat ourselves against South Carolina last year. And to think that we're going to be worse against what was one of the worst teams in the SEC, and they still have them as one of the worst SEC teams in 2021.
5-7.
Right. If you look at that graphic overall, but 2-6 in the SEC. So they think South Carolina is only going to get 2 wins, and one of them is going to be against Auburn.
Right.
Wow. Now,
right. Well, before you finish, just speaking. Well, I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
Yeah, I'm almost ready to pass to Bryan at this point. Looking at this thing, I got to put it back up here while we talk about it. So, looking at what they've, diligently charted out here for us, 2-6 in the SEC from the Gamecocks, while predicting that Kentucky is going to go 5-3 in conference and 9-3 overall is a little baffling to me. I don't think this reflects the level of talent that we still have on our team and that we were able to go get in the portal. I don't think that this. I don't think
it takes into account that.
Right. It definitely does not. So is this, I think the guy who wrote this is Brad Crawford over 247.
Yes.
Does this reflect that this season could go either way for Auburn? I would love to ask him, what are the strength of your convictions in these road losses? Because you got us beating Ole Miss, but losing to South Carolina, I would think that would be the other way around, but whatever.
If we really are a 6-6 team.
Yeah, right. So I'm just wondering, what do you see that we're not going to be able to do against South Carolina that we are? Now, if he is factoring in that the quarterback we had last year is going to be the quarterback we're going to have this year, I somewhat understand because he has not been good on the road. And before anybody jumps in the chat and says, "Oh, you bashing Bo," right? It's just this fact. He's not won a lot of road games in 2 years. So
right.
if you think that's going to continue, I can't really dispute that. But some of these losses are going to be bad, man. And I still think that this team has a chance to win 8 games. I think that's our ceiling. But I thought maybe 7-5 would be palatable. 6-6 means that we completely crap the bed against somebody when I'm looking at that schedule. And I just don't have that much stuff to break. So not this year. So I'm a little puzzled. And he wrote in here, the skinny that he wrote was that it is going to be hard to get a read on the Tigers this year. Quarterback
right.
Bo Nix needs to have his best season for Auburn to be a factor in the SEC. Don't disagree with that.
Water is wet. But what else you got?
Right, but that does not take into account that we may have options. I don't blame anybody for not betting on it, though. Right? I just think that based on the level of talent that we have, we can scheme around some of these deficiencies, and we should be able to pull out at least 7 games. 6-6 means there's one loss here that we're all talking about going into 2022. Like we did South Carolina last year, right?
South Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be South Carolina again. on a 6-6 schedule. So, wow. And then he ends by saying that the Arkansas outcome might determine Auburn's postseason fate, meaning he's not even got any strong conviction that we can win that game either. That's a little bit too, listen, we don't sunshine pump, but that's a little too bleak for me. But
Right.
What are you seeing from Kentucky that says 9-3?
Defense. They load up on defense. Now ours is just as good or better. They draft, they get defensive players drafted. Kentucky had more draftees this year than we did. And I think they had at least one offensive lineman, but there was a lot of defensive players. One of the defensive recruits that we kind of had in the bag with Travis, when Travis left,
I remember that linebacker.
He
the
went to
linebacker
Kentucky.
kid.
Yeah.
They've gotten at least 2 really good transfers here since the portal season has started. So I get it. Defense, Kentucky, but that's what they see in Kentucky. I didn't mean to step on your toes. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I think our defense has a chance to be just as good, if not better. I think we have a chance to have one of the best defenses in the SEC.
I think in fairness, though, when I'm actually surveying their schedule, they got Kentucky beating South Carolina on the road. They got LSU at home, and they're on the road against Georgia.
They're
on the road against Mississippi State. They got Missouri. Like their schedule. I mean, ours is tougher. But what's your thing, Mike?
Here's my question, and this question is for Bryan. How much of this is we have a new system, and they're going to be growing pains in year one? Right? How much of this prediction is that it's not that they don't think we will be good long term, but in year one, it's going to be a rough change from what we were running under Gus for 8 years to what Harsin is trying to do, and it might not translate fully in year one.
That has to be what it is, because there's no way you look at Tank Bigsby and say 6 wins. Because let's be clear, 6 wins is Cupcake week 1, Cupcake week 2, Cupcake week 4. That's 3 wins. That's half of our wins. So somebody thinks that half of our wins are going to be cupcakes.
Right.
We will win 3 games against, according to this, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. And that's our season. The rest, we're just going 2 Jordan Hare and 2 other stadiums to get beat up. And that's almost impossible, because I know that we are more talented, even with who stayed, than Arkansas is. We are more talented, of course, than Mississippi State. We're more talented, definitely, on defense than Ole Miss, and still on offense. Ole Miss might have a better offensive mind. I think we can give Lane that credit, but they still don't have the trigger, man. He's just 1 year. He's just going to be there for an additional year. I don't think that, what's his name? Matt Corral? Was it Corral?
Yeah, Corral.
Yeah, man. Listen, we weren't even great last year, and we pretty much wrangled Corral very well. Kevin Steele
was up and down. He had some good games, and then he had some bad games too. So
yeah. So I don't think this is objective. If we were saying that five losses for us makes sense, if you think LSU is going to be better than us, A&M is going to be better than us, Penn State is going to be too tough of a road game, Bama and Georgia. If you wanted to say that, then I could say I see how you got there. Losing to South Carolina, they were terrible last year, and they got worse. They got worse because guys left. Guys who were good got drafted, and other guys who were decent left.
And they hired a new coach too. So technically,
and they hired a good coach. So the guys who were developing on defense are no longer there.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like,
I don't know how you get here. He got a couple of things wrong. Can we put that graphic back up? Because there's a couple of things that don't make any sense to me.
I got it.
One is Kentucky 9-3. I know Kentucky had like this magical season where they were in it until I think they lost to Georgia late in the season. Was that like 3 years ago?
Yeah, it was a few years ago when they started off hot.
Yeah, they started off hot. Now, the defense. We know Kentucky's defense is going to be good. Mike Stoops is a defensive guy, and he's going to put together a good defense. He's been developing well. They're going to be good over there. Their offense is always terrible.
They got a new OC.
Okay, they got a new OC yet to be determined because we don't know who their quarterback is. I know if Gatewood is their quarterback, then I don't think their offense is going to be any better than what we've seen from them the last few years. I don't really know how you get there. They got to play LSU, Georgia, Florida. They're gonna. I don't.
That's their three losses. That's the three losses they get.
That's what they're saying. Their three losses are.
I think so. I haven't read theirs exactly, but if I had to guess based on how they predicted the other schools, that's who they losing to. Other than that, their schedule is pancake soft.
Okay, so I think Kentucky loses 4. I think Missouri actually does better than 6. I think Missouri wins.
They get 7.
I can see Missouri getting 8. They had the momentum coming off last season. Remember, they beat LSU. And even though we know that was a compromised LSU defense, Missouri gave people a good fight. They gave people a good fight, more than I expected. I think that coach that was his first year, and he actually got them competing in more games than they weren't. And they actually had a decent transfer portal season. So I actually expect Missouri to get to 7, maybe 8. And definitely not being worse than Kentucky. I don't see that. If you want to give Georgia the sweep, I get it. They got the hype. They think they're going to go 12-0 through the season. They got the hype coming off the A-Day game. They think JT Daniels is the real deal. So you know, this is their year. You know,
must be nice to be excited about your quarterback.
Yeah,
going into the season.
I mean, it's Kirby though, so we know they won't be hoisting the trophy at the end of the season, so it don't matter.
Fair enough.
Bama, you can't argue with the results and the expectation over there. No gripe there as far as expecting them to run the table. LSU 9-3 is actually one I think he got exactly right. I think they're good for 3 losses, and it's not because they won't be better. I think everybody else is going to be better. We've talked about this. Last season was an aberration, especially for people who changed starters, who changed offensive or defensive coaches, way behind. And I think LSU can finally right the ship and get back to being competitive and not getting thrown out to the wolves so early in the season. That was an embarrassing season for them.
Right.
And they recover, but they're not going to compete next year. Jimbo and A&M, 10-2.
That's what I want to ask you. What is Jimothy going to do? What is Jimothy going to do, B? Now, that schedule.
You said 3 losses? That's not ridiculous.
That schedule's a little light.
Yeah.
So they're going 9-3?
I say 3 losses for them.
Okay.
Despite what Jimbo says, he's not going to beat Bama, no matter what he says to fundraisers at the club. So that's not going to happen.
Fair enough. But who are the other losses to?
We have played Jimbo and company very well. Now, here's what I don't know. I don't know if that was a Gus thing or if that was a Jimbo being a mediocre coach, which is what I think it was.
They're on the road at LSU in Death Valley, last game of the season. Mm-hmm. They're on the road against Ole Miss. They got Bama at home, and then they got Auburn at home. That's that's their toughest competition.
Yeah, we're going to find out what his process is this year, right? Like, I think this is the year we find out how Jimbo's process is actually panning out. So I'm excited to watch it. I think it's going to be very exciting to see what he does with a brand new O-line and a brand new quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if he gets 2 wins this year.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's the SEC, so it can go either way.
Right.
Like, this is the SEC West at that. So
the only thing though is that a lot of his tough games are going to come later in the year. So even if you are starting off with a weak O-line and you coach them up, they could get better as the season goes on.
Or you could get injured.
Or you can get injured. We just never know. It's why we got to watch the game.
Right. So that could work forward against you. What I think, circling back around to our schedule, what I think is that we have 3 games to pull it together before we get into SEC play. This was one of the best case scenarios Bryan Harsin could have asked for.
Yeah.
In year 1. You got 2 cupcakes. You got a tough road test to see what you're made of. What is my team made of at Penn State? And regardless of how Penn State looks, that's going to be a hard place to go play. And I'm telling you guys, I have a friend who is a big Penn State fan. She's planning on flying out to Happy Valley. We're going to meet there for the game. And tickets already are $500 for the nosebleeds. They're making it their whiteout game. They are excited. This is a big in-season SEC matchup for them. They're treating it like it is prime time. So I expect that to be a deafening environment for us offensively.
Yeah.
And communication is going to be different. More things are going to have to happen on the field. And we're going to see how well communication is happening in that game. Because then you got to turn around 2 weeks later and we open SEC play with Georgia or LSU.
LSU.
Right? On the road. Another very hard place to go play. And depending on how they're feeling coming into that game, if they're 4-0 and feeling good, then we have to play Georgia the week after that. Wow, man, listen, that's a brutal 4-week stretch. Penn State, LSU, Georgia.
Yeah.
Wow, man, no breaks in the SEC, man. So I think that this is a good thing for Harsin, right? Get in here, see what your team is made of. Do your best to learn from the wins and the losses. But this really reflects how bad we've been. This prediction reflects how bad we've been on the road.
Yes,
the last 2 years. I mean, we've been terrible on the road. There's no way to pump any sunshine into that. We have just not been good on the road.
Let me stop you there. Let's talk about that. And I want to shout out because he's already in the comments. Chase H, you guys definitely check out his channel. He has a great channel. He puts out great content on the regular. Shouts out to you, buddy. Chase H recently did a video where he talks about Auburn's performance on the road. And he's basically starting from 1999 to the current to the present. And he's talking about our record against our biggest rivals, right? Good content. He drops a lot of stats there. It's a definitely you want to check that out. So shout out to Chase H. What I want to talk about though is you alluded to it, Mike. We haven't been good on the road. The past 3 years, Auburn's record on the road is 5-8. 5-8 on the road. We were 2-3 on the road last year. So if again, recency bias, if you're going to make this prediction, you're just assuming that Auburn either remains the same or takes a step back, learning a new system, new coaching staff, the whole nine. You don't know all the talent that Auburn has because, of course, Auburn didn't do a great job of utilizing all their talent. So you don't know what Auburn has.
Right.
And you're expecting them to be the same in year one on the road, which means 1-4 isn't that crazy in your mind and your logic. What I want to know from you guys, I'm going to start with you, B. Will, or I actually start with you, Mike G, since you alluded to it. With the new coaching staff, how does they change Auburn's performance on the road? Right?
Okay, so I'm going to give a very predictable answer, right? It started this spring in the weight room.
Okay.
Because what you're talking about first and foremost is a mindset change.
Yeah.
Which starts with getting your weight up and changing your day in, day out habits and start developing a winner's mindset. And it was a flip of a coin whether we were bringing a winner's mindset. You're not watching South Carolina from last year and telling me we brought a winner's mindset into that game.
Right.
We were way more talented than they were. And we got, for all intents and purposes, whooped. I did not enjoy watching that. That did not feel good, guys.
Right.
So it starts in the weight room. He is changing the way that they approach preparation. Because when you go on the road, you have to be prepared. Number one, for the environment that you're walking into. These are hostile environments in the SEC. It's going to be a hostile environment at Penn State.
Yeah.
They're going to roll out the red carpet. It's just going to have hot coals on it. You're not really going to be welcome.
Right.
And their crowd will be a factor. And people are chomping at the bit this year. People missed being in stadiums last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know it's going to be wild. And now you have a chance, win or lose at Penn State, to go out and make a statement. This might be a new system. This might be a new coaching staff. Harsin made a statement about, if you're going to come into Jordan Air, you better bring your A game or get ready to get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
The mentality has to be the same on the road as well, too. After a home game, we're going to pack that ass whooping up and bring it to your house.
Indeed.
We'll open up that can anywhere. Right?
Facts.
And for the 3 hours that I play in your stadium, it's my house.
It's my couch.
Until I get on the bus and go back to the airport. So I mean, that's how he's going to do this, because it's about, and then after that, it's just about putting these guys in the best. It's coaching. It's pretty simple, right? It's coaching, putting guys in the best position to make plays and give your team a chance to win.
Yeah.
He's going to have to manage this quarterback situation. I know a lot of people get tired of us talking about it, but it's going to be a storyline all season long, whether we're doing good or bad.
Especially going into that game.
Yeah.
Oh,
This game is going to decide
Especially
a lot
going into that game.
for the trajectory of people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, some people may not finish their career at Auburn after that game. I hate to break it to you. So to me, that's how he changes. It's about changing the mindset that we've been taking in, believing you're superior. When we interviewed Courtney Taylor, it was something that he talked about, that we repeated over and over again, that dog mentality that you develop in practice, duking it out against each other, so that when Saturday comes, there's nothing you're going to experience in the game that you haven't done that's 5 times harder in practice against each other. Because the best guys in the nation play on my team, and I practice against them. And the best coaches coach me. They have to start to believe that. Listen to what Owen Pappo said. He said, we're going to look like Marines come fall. I hope he brings that same energy to every game. I hope he beats it like a Marine in the fall as well, too. But if that's his mindset, that quote got me so jacked up. And it's going to be about here because we don't lack talent.
Right.
We may not be very deep, but at the one deep, we do not lack talent.
We're deep in the secondary.
Yeah, right. On defense, I have no issues, right?
Yeah.
Linebacker.
Right.
Defense,
Right.
we're stacked now.
Yeah, go out there and win. Just go out there and win. Win your matchup. Beat the guy in front of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? And then look at their crowd right in the eyes and say, everyone have a seat. Have several seats. Have the whole stadium. Everybody sit down. The Auburn Tigers are here for the next 2.5 hours, doling out ass whoopings. That's how you change that.
According to Phil Petway, we're going to be calling it Albee Valley.
Right. You got to be. Rename it. Rename it.
Yeah.
You know, remember, make sure they remember the day they were excited that they were playing the SEC. I don't want them to be excited anymore. Listen, I have a lot of Michigan State fans, friends. And I remember back in 2010 when we won the national title, I think Bama went 10-2 that year. And Michigan State was having a year for them, 11-1.
They went 9-3. Bama was 9-3. We were their third loss because they lost to South Carolina.
That's right. And Michigan State was 11-1.
Right.
And they all came over my house to watch that game. And I was like, I hate to break it to y'all, but they were like, well, we're a one-loss team. I was like, it don't matter. Bama is that thing was over by halftime. I think they scored 40 points by halftime, if I remember correctly.
It was very one-sided.
Oh man, it was a beat down. And despite the games they lost, better coaches make their teams believe that they're superior, no matter who they face.
Yeah.
And we just
Yeah.
need some of that same energy.
Yeah.
Right? Because you cannot be in awe of Bama or Georgia or LSU. You can't. They need to be in awe of you.
Right.
Right? And while they're caught up feeling themselves in the mirror, you're running them over. We know it can be done because every once in a while we catch Bama slipping, feeling themselves in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
We know it can be done. Just do it consistently. Be prepared. Don't take anybody for granted. And it can start early. So go out and handle business on these cupcakes. And I don't care who starts at quarterback. I'm telling you right now, shout out Steve Vest in the comments. He said this. I'm subscribing to it. Like, there's this weird thing that's happening lately where me and him agree a whole lot. But like, no matter what happens in the first 2 or 3 or 4 games, we should see a whole lot of TJ Finley.
Right.
Yeah.
Hear me out. We should see a whole lot of him no matter what happens. Either we're blowing those teams out so bad that TJ gets on the field and gets some meaningful reps in, or things aren't going so hot. And that's why you brought him in. So that we can start to get past the one deep at QB.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can't be Bo or bust. It can't be tank or bust. It cannot be any one player. So what has been happening at Auburn is we've had too many single points of failure.
Yeah.
What does that mean? One guy goes down and the whole system falls apart.
Right.
That's not what championship teams are made of, man. You cannot have a single point of failure anywhere on your team if you're going to win championships year in and year out.
Mike G, let B get in here.
Go ahead.
Let B get in here.
I forgot.
How do we change? How we change road game culture?
All right. Well, I want to bring up some points that a couple of people in the chat had. Lisa, thank you. Real game planning, halftime adjustments.
Yeah,
we have all lamented over the last 4 or 5 months of just how defunct we were from offensive game planning point of view. We were deficient. We were not good enough there. So yes, we've always been talented, but we haven't been disciplined. We're learning that more and more now. And we didn't have good game plans. Ike talks about it all the time. When he's breaking down film, he's like, you know what? The coaches did not put us in a position to succeed when we stepped into that game. So when we end up getting housed by like 30 or 40 points, it's like, no wonder we get housed by 30 or 40. We didn't have a chance.
Right.
The coaches didn't give us a chance. And I have been adamant from the minute we changed hands with administrations that just putting the team in the hands of a competent coach will make a world of difference. That's why this 6-6 bothers me, because it makes the assumption, again, you're going to be only what you were. Like changing the head coach doesn't change anything. It changes everything. Mike has made this point plenty of times. He said, actually, there's not a premium on talent. The premium is on coaching. There's talent everywhere.
Right.
A good coach is the much harder thing to have. Look at Tennessee. Tennessee's been recruiting top 5 for the last 4 years. They've got a plethora of talent, but they didn't have quality coaching. So they were bad.
They've lost a lot of talent since then too.
Yeah.
They have lost a lot. Well, now they've kind of, come back to the middle. But Georgia, equally as talented as Clemson and Ohio State and Alabama. They won nothing. I can't say nothing. The SEC championship is a feat, but they haven't won the big one, and they've had opportunities.
They did make it, though. You do give them credit for making it.
Sure, they made it.
They made it, and they lost in epic fashion. That was actually probably one of the better national title games.
It was.
It was a good game.
More to the point, if coaching is what the key to all of this is, we know teams around the conference have talent. Teams around the country have talent. Coaching is what makes it go. We had bad coaching. We've got right now, all we can say is we have different coaching. We don't know who Bryan Harsin is here. And this job is different than Boise. But to the point that Shankopotamus made, where did that mindset come from? You're talking about the one guy in the conference who was saying, get us in the Big 12 so we can go knock some heads. That dude?
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, talk to the Pac-12 so we can go knock some heads because we can win a championship. You're telling me that the dude who was willing to go to Florida State with no promises, they don't get that return home game where, hey, come give us some revenue and come play at our stadium the next year. He was like, no, we just want to get on the field with you. He was there calling plays for the upset of Oklahoma in that Fiesta Bowl. Bryan Harsin has been a part of the success that Boise State has had playing big boys pretty much almost the entire time they've been doing it. That mindset is so much different than what we had prior. Our last coach was mailing it in halfway through the season. Well, next year will be when he said next year was after the Texas A&M game. So 6-4 is not bad. That's a good season. We feel like we got what are you talking about, man? Is that what we came to watch? How's that going to get us back in this stadium for the rest of the season? We're just looking towards next year. So forget this year, huh?
Right.
The mindset is so much different now. And that is very, very important. That's the most important piece of this is the coach is different. So on the road, I expect that play anybody, anytime mindset. Getting the kids who were here, who didn't want to get down with the program, getting them out of here, that's the right mindset.
Amen.
That's setting the tone. Being in the weight room with those guys, that's setting the tone. Telling them, listen, you're going to get across, you're going to do these workouts. This is going to be a part of what we expect from you. And we're not taking any doctor's notes, as Mike likes to say. That's changing the mindset. I think we'll know who we are by LSU. Penn State will show us. The next home game will be to refine it. And we're going to be who we are when we hit that field against LSU. Ooh. I don't even think it's going to be terrible. Worst case scenario, we lose to LSU. We will not get blown out. I firmly believe we do not get blown out by LSU. Along with the mindset changing is the change in personnel is important because for this reason, we've got 3 or 4 guys who are coming for a single season and they expect to go to the NFL.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Even if they weren't playing for the guys who they just met in the last couple of months, or even if they weren't playing for their whoever recruited them or the defensive coordinator or the head coach because they don't have the strong connection to them, they're playing for themselves. They're playing for their stock, for their first NFL contract, for their draft stock. Everybody has something to prove. Most of all, the head coach. Gus Malzahn didn't have anything to prove last year. He was completely content saying, we'll get him next year. This is not Gus Malzahn's team anymore.
Right.
I expect the mindset to be different, significantly different, to be better. And it doesn't mean we're going to be all world, but what I do expect is that the defense will carry us for the majority of every game. And once or twice, the offense is going to surprise us just enough to sneak somebody that none of these experts had any inkling that we would be able to sneak. I would love it to just be Jimbo Jimbo and Georgia, the 2 most overrated coaches in the conference. Please sneak those guys so we can stop having this conversation and hyping them up. But that's what I expect to happen.
Listen, I got some thoughts on here that I want to give. But I want to do 2 things before I give my thoughts. First off, I want to shout out Vernon. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
War Eagle to you. Appreciate that. Also got a super chat in here. And this is getting away from me and moving crazy because y'all dropping comments. Chris Deal, appreciate that, brother. Dr. Analytics agrees. Definitely want to do that. We also got some announcements. We want to stay on target because we have a giveaway we want to get to. So Mike G, lead us away with that, brother.
Oh man, listen, become an insider. This conversation is going to be ongoing during the season. If you want to talk to us about it, become an insider, become a channel member. We're going to do a lot for our channel members during the season, especially on game day. So wake up early Saturday morning, get your chores done, do whatever projects your wife has, and get ready to lock in with the War Report for a few hours pregame, halftime, and postgame. So we're excited about our game day experience this year. We're making that exclusive. We want that to be a troll-free environment, which is why we're doing member only. So we don't have any Georgia or Bama fans slip in there with their uncouth sales ruining our experience. But other than that, our merch store is live. You can find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. We are officially partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. I said it at the top of the broadcast. I'll say it again. Look at those puppies' faces. You can save one, and it doesn't cost as much as you think. It's $19 a day is what it costs the Lee County Humane Society to take care of an animal for a day in their care. Those animals stay in their care for 30 to 45 days. We have partnered with them because this is the good that we want to put back into the world. So we're helping them with their mission of saving as many puppy lives as possible. You can help us by donating any amount. No amount is too small. We really appreciate everybody who is helping us with that. And we're giving away some War Report merch. So you can win a t-shirt tonight. Hashtag get your weight up. If you weren't here at the top of the broadcast, please drop hashtag get your weight up. We got almost 200 people in here and only 49 entries. So everybody, make sure you spell it right so that my filter over here catches it at the top of the broadcast. We are going to draw. You have to be here to win. So we're going to ask you in the comments after to give us a quick shout to make sure you're still here. If not, we will redraw until we get somebody who is here.
Don't think we won't. Shout out to J-Dub. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate that a ton. Appreciate that a ton. Listen, I will want to say this, and just to kind of put a button on what you guys have said, it's a culture change, man. We're able to see, we're not insiders, but we can sense that there's a change in culture. Trevon Reed tweeted earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Inside that building, he's saying those kids are walking like champs, talking like champs. It's a new day. It's just a new culture. And why are they talking like that? Because they have leadership running this program.
Listen, Caesar. So I want to take everybody back to our interview with Alan Green. We asked Alan about his assessment of where the program was at. What he told us, I thought was very powerful. He said, Mike, when we looked at the program, there wasn't the hope around the program that we would have liked. And I don't think that there's anything more dangerous in life than somebody losing hope in something.
Right.
Because these coaches can make $5 million a year to coach a sport, an amateur sport, because that hope exists. Because 200 people will join us on a random Wednesday night in the off season to talk about it. It matters. It has to matter. That's the only way it makes money.
Right.
But once you start to lose hope, once boosters start to lose hope, the next thing that goes is their dollars, which turns into a cascade effect that will set your program back years.
Absolutely.
Now, what did we learn from that interview? It is the coach's responsibility how he decides to spend his football budget. Go figure. Now, we had one of the highest paid staffs in the country. And if you're an insider, you'll be getting this tomorrow. We got outspent in recruiting by a whole lot. But from the top 3 teams in the conference and recruiting spend. And what that means is, because we know from talking to Jay Ferg at the Auburn Observer, shout out to Justin Ferguson, most of that budget is travel-related expenses. So we just weren't covering more ground to go reach kids where they were at.
Right.
And on top of that, once you get into their living rooms, you still have to sell them something that's on tape. You got to sell them hope too.
Right.
So not just the guys that are here, the guys you're trying to bring in need to have that same hope. And you change our role culture by bringing that injecting hope back into the program.
Right.
We have an athletic director who understands that. And he was an athlete.
Yeah.
Bring hope back, man, into the program and change the mindset of these kids, man. Turn them into winners. Sports is a euphemism for life.
Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to teach you skills about perseverance and doing your best and giving your all that should translate into everything you do in life. Because if you can traverse these tough practices day in and day out, what are you going to do in your day that's harder than that? The answer should be nothing if they're running these practices right.
Right.
I can't wait to go sit down and study for this test because that's way easier than what I just did with Coach Pittman.
Right. Right.
I need the mental break.
Right.
So teaching these guys how to succeed on and off the field and in any environment, the anyone, anywhere attitude that they were talking about in the chat that Boise had, bring that into Auburn, man.
Indeed. Listen, we watched film on Boise versus FSU a few years back. They were on the road at FSU, and Boise took Florida State's best shot. Florida State had the best athletes on that field, and they were. It looked like they was going to run away with that game. Boise kept fighting. Boise wore them down, and when the game was over, Boise came back and beat a team that was superior to them talent-wise. They kept working. What has happened the past few years under this coaching staff when we got hit in the mouth?
Right.
We stayed on the mat. Not anymore. We got someone who's saying everything, if you're going to be champions, everything you do matters. Which means he's looking at everything. It's no longer getting away with stuff you used to. We're winners here. We're champions here. That's why Trevon saw what he saw when he was in that building today. He saw something different he ain't seen. We're hearing guys talk the way they haven't seen. And I'm gonna tell you this too: is we had a play caller running our team. It appears that we got a coach running this team now.
Yeah, boy.
There's a difference between a head coach and a play caller, because I heard Anthony Schwartz on Locked on Auburn podcast saying we was running routes in practice, but when we got in the game, we just weren't running them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see you prepare and play how you practice.
So you didn't even believe in your own game plan.
So how can you expect the players to do it? That's what I'm saying.
You practiced a bunch of stuff that you never did.
That's what I'm saying. You're bailing on your game plan. What do you think those kids are going to do?
Oh man, I can't imagine what it was like. The last thing I'll say in terms of changing mindset is you can be cocky and humble at the same time. I know that sounds oxymoronic, but just hang with me. Your belief in yourself does not have to turn into an overrated mindset where you just believe into yourself to a fault, right? Like the antics that I will say, as much as I love him, the antics that we saw from Seth Williams and Bo at times, I hope we never see again.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hope we have a coach that will say, son, sit your ass down. Right? Because you're not going to do that on my sideline.
Right.
Now, I'm not against players celebrating touchdowns. I'm not in that camp. So I don't want anybody to hear that. Right. But when you shout out Main Easy, he posted a video from last year of Seth Williams catching a touchdown pass on a Kentucky DB. He pushes the DB in the head.
Yeah.
Right in front of the ref and then flexed on him. And I was shocked that a flag wasn't thrown on that play.
Yeah.
But when you got people out here predicting 6-6, that flex might cost you a win. It might cost you a bowl game. And that win that you should have got might cost somebody their job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that mindset has to change. You're here to play. Give your all on the field, but respect your coaches and respect your opponent.
Yeah.
You know, we're here, LSU. We understand you guys have beaten us respectfully. We're here to whoop you up and down this field. And then we will leave respectfully to let you think about it. But I don't need to flex on you and do all this stuff. That's the type of showboating I don't like.
Right.
I like for players to have fun. It is practices are too hard and the preparation is too hard to not celebrate when you do something good on the field. So I'm never going to be in favor of kids not celebrating. And I hope that Harsin knows where that line is at for this team, because it seemed like guys before didn't understand where that line was at.
Right.
You know, and I will also say, in terms of celebrating, I would like to see them celebrate actual accomplishments moving forward.
You mean
there
SEC West champion isn't worth putting a banner in the facility for?
I'm saying when you score a touchdown and you sun somebody and it's not an impressive game, I don't want to see you flexing.
Or you losing. You losing.
Yeah, I just don't want to see that.
Right.
Go back to the sideline and figure out how you're going to do it again. And I'll celebrate with you at the end after you win.
Yeah.
Right.
But some of the showboating was really unwarranted for a 6-5 team. You didn't earn that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I hope that our coach makes them earn that.
Right.
Going forward. So there's just a lot that has to change about how this thing is being run. I really got from our Alan Green interview that he understand what changes needed to happen. And he did not dog Gus out. He said he liked Gus and they worked well together, and it was a difficult decision to make to move on. But it was time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Because his family was not going to remain functional the way that it was going. You can't have fans losing hope, right? You can't have fans losing hope. Now, we're ride or die. But the truth is that not everybody's going to be that way. You need to put good results on the field to keep people engaged.
Right.
You could go pick up tickets in the trash can outside the Coliseum.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not an exaggeration. They couldn't give those things away. I mean, I had a few tickets that came with $10 bills. Now
it was bad.
2019, I moved back east from Arizona, and I get with Deontay, and we go to a basketball game, and I'm paying a scalper $200 outside the stadium for that same ticket I could have picked up off the ground 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what going to our football games needs to turn into. It needs to be the hottest ticket in town.
Yeah.
And hear me out. If you can inject hope, watch the pocketbooks open for everything that you want to do.
Right.
They will find the money, because Alan Green said it's not a no if it's not in the budget, but you have to make the case. It's the same on my job. I can't just go to my boss and say I need 3 more salespeople to work under me. Okay, well, that's $200,000, Mike. How are you going to justify that?
Right.
It works the same way here. So when you go to your boss and say, I need another $1 million for recruiting, he's going to say, what are you doing with the recruits you got?
Right.
Yeah. You got an average non-rated class in here. Let me see what you're going to do with them, because if you don't know how to manage what you have, more money is not going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
you're paying crazy amounts to coaches, and you're getting solid results.
Right. So that's part of the mindset that has to change.
Yeah.
The downfall of our program was when Gus got his extension in 2017. I'll say it again for the people in the back. When Gus got extended, the mindset of this program went to hell.
What a heist.
And he made out with $21 million.
Ski Mask Hall of Fame.
Right? It was part of it. So you got a coach who's disengaged to some extent. Now, this is just my opinion. This is not insider information or anything anybody told me. It's just my opinion. based on things that he said publicly. And there's no way I can't believe that didn't affect these kids in some way, whether just outright or subconsciously. If you're carrying that energy around, I'm getting paid no matter what. 6-4 is a solid season. What? No, completely unacceptable. This is Auburn. We expect to win championships.
Right.
That's a sign of a coach that's been around too long and doesn't have any incentive to move forward and get better.
Right.
And you can say what you want. I think where he landed is reflective of that too.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And he get picked up by the major program.
Mm-hmm. He
got
got
Power
picked up
5
by a program whose main guy had left the second in command in charge, and then that got left his guts.
Yeah. I mean, it starts with leadership. So before we go to blaming these kids, before we go to blaming Bo and blaming Tank and blaming everybody here, let's look at what they're being asked to do and who's asking them to do it.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I will always lean towards holding the millionaires accountable before these unpaid amateurs. And once we can get that part of the house in order, the trickle down should be the mindset that B took us to church on. That's how you go out and you win road games. Lisa Y said it again: preparation, game plan, and then adjustments. What do you see to your team when you're down 21-0 at halftime? Let's just focus on this next drive. Let's get this next drive right. Let's go down. Let's march down here and score, guys. And we're right back in this thing. And then let's just get the next stop. And then let's just get the next touchdown. And before you know it, you're back in the game.
Right.
But if I'm a player, I have to believe that my coaches have a plan for when things don't go right on the road and we're down 21-0.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then your leaders on the team, once they buy into that, we should see, listen to me here, we should see them on the sideline enacting that same mentality to their peers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Whoever's
Rallying
leader,
people.
Rallying the troops.
We didn't see it. We didn't see that. I didn't see that. I saw a lot of bickering on the sidelines, but I didn't see guys getting in huddles and talking.
You know, one of my favorite college football moments over the last few years was Baker Mayfield showboating when they were beating Georgia at halftime in that playoff game.
Yeah.
And what Georgia did after that should go down in the record books, man.
Yeah.
There was no quit in that team that year.
Yeah.
And he was running around with his antics and doing all that foolishness. Was that the year he won the Heisman? Did he win the Heisman that year?
No, was it the next year?
I can't remember.
It might have been the next year,
right?
Might have been the next year.
He was good that year. He was good. But all them antics, and then you ended up losing the game because you lost focus.
Yeah.
And credit to Kirby Smart. He didn't let his team get down on themselves. Guys, we're still in this. I don't care what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then they Uno reverse carded them in the second half.
Yeah.
Let's go, man. That's what I want to see this year because it's a dogfight in the SEC every game, guys. Every week you can get beat. You have to bring, unless it's Vanderbilt. Other than that, you got to bring your A game, man. Shout out to Vandy. I don't want to dog Vandy out. We need them for graduation rates.
Listen, man. I'm not gonna talk about Vandy that bad while Derek Mason is on our staff. He put in a lot of work there. It may not have worked out, but I don't want to talk down on what is part of his reputation when we talk about Vandy. So until he's off of our staff, we appreciate Vanderbilt for being in the SEC.
Fair enough.
Let me shout out some people in the comments who drop in chat. Appreciate you, man, for that. Also appreciate you, my brother.
Well, yes.
Oh man,
yes,
appreciate you, James, man. Yeah, appreciate you, James, man. Awesome. We got somebody else too. I got I'm scrolling.
Walt is
appreciate that, Walt.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was part of it. We had a president at the time who was pretty much brand new, and Jay Jacobs was still here advocating for Gus because Gus was Jay Jacobs' guy. And the president basically had Jay Jacobs in one ear and the booster who liked Gus the most in the other ear. He was like, all right, whatever you guys say. He was worried about other stuff. So he knew football was part of the program. It was part of the formula down here, but that wasn't his main concern. And he did what the angel and or devil, depending on how you view it, told him to do. That's why we got it. Now, not Jay Jacobs, but Googe, maybe he makes a different decision. If he was still here at that time, he came back, but it was a bit of politics too. But also, come on, man, he had just beaten Georgia and Alabama in the same regular season. I understood why he got that extension. I still didn't think he should get it, but I understood why he got it. Because who are you going to get that was better than what Gus had just done in that season? Who you look around the landscape of college football, and who do you say, yeah, we can get somebody else to come in here and beat Georgia and Alabama in the same season? Sure. You can't say that. That's hard to do. I don't think you can say that about anybody, really. I mean, you can't say that about Orgeron or Jimothy or anybody, or even Mullen. Like, you play those two teams every year. Mullen couldn't do it last year. I mean, Jimothy doesn't play Georgia on a regular basis. So, but it's a hard ask. And we have the toughest schedule in the nation every single year. So he put together a good season, and you're going to say, hey, that's the best season anybody's had here in 4 years. And 4 years ago in 2013, it was a lot of luck. This didn't even look like luck. It just looked like you were good. Here you go. Yeah. I don't want to say you have to. It would have been more unpopular then to make a change than it was now.
I would have understood.
It would have cost a lot less, though. A lot less.
I would have understood. Like, again, you can give him a bump, but it wasn't worth that.
Yeah,
it wasn't worth that.
That's money that could have gone into recruiting.
And again, you had a guy, and I think Corey mentioned it in the comments. You had a guy who was caught in a bad spot, didn't know what he was doing, and Malzahn and Sexton took him to the woodshed.
Yeah, shout out to his agent.
Sexton took him to the woodshed on that negotiation.
Yep. So
did his job.
Yeah, the change is apparent though. So now we've got new leadership, not just at coach, but we got new leadership because Allen came in after that debacle.
Right.
And it's good. It's a project when you're changing culture throughout all of athletics. We asked him about Bruce Pearl. He said Bruce is one of a kind. He inherited Bruce. But it's clear that they're willing to give him whatever resources he needs to keep this thing moving the right direction, because he's proven that he can be a leader of men and develop and get the most out of the talent that we have. One and dones are a thing at Auburn now. I never thought I'd see the day.
Listen, I thought Allen. I think one of the biggest decisions that Allen made wasn't this football coaching decision. It was staying with our basketball coach when it hit the fan with that news. Like, he could have cut bait with Bruce.
I could have done the easy thing, yeah.
But he doubled down and hung in with Bruce. You gotta credit Allen Green for that. So I think the leadership is in place. And when you have the right leadership in place, you're going to see it reflected in the decisions we make in our coaches. I'm excited to see what we do on the football field. I'm excited for women's basketball because we have leadership who knows how to go and get people. At least it appears to be that way early on in Allen's tenure. He's doing so far so good as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, man. Like, again, if you have not seen that with Allen Green, please be sure to check that out, man. People have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. It was an amazing interview. Mike G, you want to go ahead and do the drawing, man?
Yeah, listen. So one of my favorite parts of this, we got 67 entries. Hashtag get your weight up to enter right here before we draw. So if you are just joining us or you joined us halfway through or after we made the announcements, get your hashtag, get your weight up to enter. Just make sure you spell that right to get into the drawing here. We're giving away some War Rapport merch. So I'm going to give everybody just
all
a
right,
little
all
bit
right,
more time.
all right. So B, who you, Blake? I hear you, bro. I hear you, man. I hear you. I'm going with Blake. Blake, get your weight up. Make sure you get it in there. So I'm rolling with you today. All right. I think B may still be rolling with Corey Dubs.
I'm rooting for Corey, but if this works out like Corey thinks, it's going to be somebody who's definitely not a member and definitely does not comment on a regular basis. So let's go.
Yeah. All right. 71 entries. We have 183 people in here right now and only 71 entries. Come on, guys. Help me out here. Get your weight up. I'm going to give you guys just a little bit more time to get into this. 75. Can we get to at least 80 before I draw this? 80. Can I get 80?
Anymore?
All right. I'm going to hit draw here. And so it's going to be somebody's lucky night. So roll it.
Let's see what we got.
Man, who is it going to be?
Drum sound will be here next week. I promise.
Oh, Darius.
Darius.
Darius, are you here, Darius?
You got a comment.
You got a comment, Darius. We need to see you.
We need some Jeopardy music while we wait for these people to comment.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, Darius, are you here?
Come on, Darius.
Oh man, don't make me do it, Darius.
You have 100. Okay.
All
right.
So what I need you to do is I need you to email me your address, business@thewarreport.com. Again, that's business@thewarreport.com. And we will get that merch out to you. Email me your address and your t-shirt size, and we'll make sure that you get that. No, not that one. It's business@thewarreport.
Oh, it's business. My bad. Yeah. My bad.
So business@thewarreport.com, and we will take care of that for you.
Corey was right. Oh man.
So yes, I enjoyed this discussion tonight about the schedule. I think we'll obviously this will be a subject we revisit as the season gets closer and things start to come into the picture here. Sure. Lawrence Robinson and I will be over on All About Auburn, knocking heads, arguing about it. I'm sure he joins me in a lot of discussion.
One of the things I will say is the reason why I disagree with that prediction, guys, is I expect a lot of the culture and a lot of the attitude and a lot of the things that the coaching staff wants to do to really take shape with this team as they get further into the season, which is why I think it's asinine that Auburn loses to South Carolina that late in the season.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, again, I could almost nod to it if we play them early in the year and South Carolina gets the drop on us while everything is so new.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Right.
That's major dysfunction.
I'm expecting a lot of things to take shape. And if you're losing that late in the year, that's cause for concern as to what's going on. Right. And of course, it also depends on how you lose those games. But that's a team that we have more talent than. And we should be able to beat that team that late in the year, which is why I feel good about going on the road against A&M and giving them a tough game, because I expect something to click with this team halfway through the year, which allows them to be even more tougher. So again, I know I think 8 is our ceiling. I know B, you got 9, but there's some things I expect to see from this team as they get that. I expect them to get stronger. I expect Harsin's culture to take shape, and I just don't see us laying down to someone who's going to be 5-7. I'm sorry, I just don't see that.
Yeah, late in the season, I think you made a good point. That is a special kind of dysfunction, I think, late in the season. So if we losing to them late in the season, it should be because they're having an amazing season nobody saw coming.
Right.
Not that they're 2-6 and we're one.
They're having a 9-3 season. South Carolina is they're having what they think Kentucky's going to have.
Yeah, that's the only way I'll accept it. Yeah. They're much better than people anticipate. But you're telling me they're only going to win two games and we're going to be one of them? Hell out of here.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
It definitely disrespectful. But Anyway, you guys got anything else, man? Before we I think you'll like this one, B.
Jimbo going down.
I'm counting on it. I am counting on that.
That was my road victory. I know we did facts, and now some of y'all have probably seen it already, but we talked about who was going to who Auburn was going to beat on the road first, Georgia or LSU. So you guys definitely check that out. It's going to be coming out on this upcoming Friday. Mike G, what else we got coming, bro?
Listen, become an insider. I'm seeing the signups. I'm massively excited about you guys joining our community. So this is about a lot. This is about having our community that we can commune with on Saturdays, weekly, all the time. We're working in the off season, people. Your $5.99 a month helps us continue to do this work and bring you guys quality content, both live and pre-recorded. So the interviews with Alan Green and former players and the chop it ups and the new segment we're dropping tomorrow for you guys, all that is because of the generosity and the graciousness of everyone who watches us. This does not go unappreciated. We appreciate everybody who does that. So become an insider and join us this season for an in-season experience like you've never had as an Auburn fan. This is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Hit our merch store, the About section on our YouTube channel. You can find that link. And then we are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society. I'm going to tell you guys now, I'm not too proud to beg to save an animal. So this is the good that we've chosen to put back into the world, to save animals and help people find the peace and joy that having a rescue animal can bring. Emotional and mental health doesn't get talked about a lot enough, and animals certainly help with that. So while Auburn is driving me crazy on Saturdays, it is nice to have my dog keeping me sane and loving me and being like, Dad, what's wrong? And I'm like, it's Auburn, right? That's why I named you this. So I appreciate everybody who's been joining. Lisa Wise, Chris Deal, you guys dropped some GoFundMe's on us. We really appreciate those donations. 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them with their mission, which is to save an animal's life who might save a human being's life. I can attest to that. So Thank you in advance for everybody who has graciously donated. We certainly appreciate that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And guys, if you're an insider, be on the lookout for some special content tomorrow. So I think you'll like what we're going to drop for you guys moving forward. Guys, as usual, man, please be sure to share our video if you're on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Please do the necessary. Use hashtag Get Your Weight Up if you're on Twitter. You can add us at The War Report. Be sure to like and subscribe to our videos on YouTube. You guys have been doing that. We appreciate that. We're at The War Report, not only on Twitter, but Instagram as well. You can also find us at TW Report on TikTok. That's it for now, but we definitely got more down the road. But until then, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.